Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Good morning. Welcome to Expert in Science. I'm your host Raju Manthia, and here at Expert in Science, we take external views of internal successes by foreigners, expats, and immigrants who have made Philippines their home and are doing good in the Philippines, either in business or society. This morning on Expert in Science, I have a very young guest, and he's a second-generation expat, and he's here to talk about letting the young lead. My guest, his name is Amar. He's a trustee of the Art of Living Foundation, which has been around in this country for almost 8-10 years. But he'll tell you the rest of it. So welcome to Expert Insights, Amar.
Thank you, Raju. Good morning as well to you.
It's a Friday morning.
Yes.
So, Amar, before you tell us about the Art of Living Foundation, tell us a bit about Amar.
Well, you know, I was born and raised in the Philippines.
Okay.
And I studied in the U.S. in University of Michigan, and I came back and joined a family business where we're into garment manufacturing and real estate development and sales. So I'm heavily involved in operations there. Yes. And with the Art of Living, I was actually somehow indirectly interested in this ever since when I was in college. There, I had approached some executives there, wondering why we were learning certain different topics, and yet we didn't seem to put any attention to understanding ourselves, to understanding who we are.
College in the U.S.
Yes.
And first, I think you might have to tell me what is Art of Living.
Yeah. Yes. The Art of Living, it's an international non-profit organization that's found in over 150 countries, and we have a lot of programs, courses, seminars, which cater to all sectors of society. Now, these courses and seminars are focused on certain understandings that can help someone come out of stress. That's the main idea of it, and it actually helps one understand how the breath works, how the mind works, because these are tools and these are the essence of our existence, really. And if we don't understand these, then how do we build success in our life? You know?
Sounds interesting. But go back to Art of Living Foundation. What was the purpose of its being? How did it come about?
Yes.
And why does it exist? What does it do?
You know, it was started by Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, and he has a vision to give people, you know, some inner strength that they can go through anything in life with a sort of smile. You know, not just a smile that can just be wavered by certain incidences that happen in life, which happen to everybody, but something that has depth to it, you know. And
Smile with a depth.
yes,
Go
exactly.
through life smiling.
Yeah.
Smile that has a depth. That's the
Yes.
purpose, okay.
Yeah. So they have these programs. One is called the Part 1 course, and like I said, there is a focus on the use of the breath. And, you know, the idea is the breath, you know, we take for granted the things that are very close to us, right? Friends, family.
Yeah.
And the one that's the most closest is, in fact, the breath. If I told you you can remedy so much of our diseases through it, you would say, how is that possible?
Yeah.
But really, there's actually about 90% of our toxins is removed through the breath.
90% of toxins are
removed through the breath. Because if
moved or removed?
Removed through the breath.
How so? Yeah.
Yeah, and when you were born, the very first thing we did was breathe in.
So the very first thing that people do is whack you on the back.
Yes.
So you start breathing.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the sign. That's the first sign of life. Then that's even before the baby cries. So now at the end of life, the last thing we do is breathe, and all we're doing in between is breathing in and out. So it's actually such a cornerstone of our existence that we don't put that much awareness to it, you know. And one of the major things that that it allows us to do is become aware of the energy that we have inside. You know, a tendency of life nowadays is that we're being stretched. You know, like stress is happening because there is a demand for our life, for what we have to do to be with our family and friends.
Yeah.
And we have to meet that demand with our energy, you know. So in Art of
Okay.
Living, we like to focus on that energy. How do we increase our energy?
Well, so let me try to get this. So you're saying, in summary, you're saying that we breathe when we are born and we die
Breathing
before
out.
we take our last breath. So the fabric of our existence, of our living being, is breath. I mean, isn't that a moot point? It is a breath. Of course it is, no? So you're saying you can manage everything else
exactly.
through managing that. Is that
Exactly.
what- okay.
So going to what I was saying earlier about energy.
Yeah.
Now let's look into the things which sap us of this energy. You know, like negative emotions, like jealousy, greed, fear, anxiety.
Yeah.
You know, all these things are our mind operating on things that are either happening in the past or the future. And we know.
Oh, you mean all of our stress is about what happened and what might happen,
Yes. And
not what is happening. So
what is
there's no
happening-
stress right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we are smiling fine.
Because
okay.
and that's exactly what happens when you're at the moment. Then all these joy, you know, love, all these things express at the moment. And so, by using the breath, you're able to go from a vacillating mind that's going from the past and future to the present.
So you're saying attention to it, awareness of it, thus management of it, or
Yes, when
That's
you
nice.
manage the breath, you're able to manage your stress, and by managing your stress, you're able to manage your time. Because if you notice,
sounds good, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because our mind is, if you count up the times that your mind is going in what's happened, you know, say you've had an interaction in the past which wasn't very positive, how much time you've gone to that, and how much time you're spending on anxiety for something in the future.
So if I travel back and get stressed at my past or in my past, then I'm spending,
You're spending that time on something that
I'm
is
consuming
not, yeah,
it pointlessly.
Yeah,
You know?
but this is information that we know already. Actually, it's not something new.
At
that,
a very innate level, instinctive
yeah,
level.
we know that we are doing something which is not really going to be productive, but through the breath, through the practice that you get to learn in the Art of Living in these courses, you're actually able
okay.
to apply it.
So in summary, a gentleman called Sri Sri Shankar wanted peace, joy, and happiness for people, and he said, go through life smiling, and his tool set is breathing. His technique is breathe well, therefore smile, and
There's breathing techniques. There's some light yoga, meditation. There's some.
so
very
let's
basic
let's
knowledge.
go back to you in college, because you said you were looking for this.
Yes.
Did you know that this is what you were looking for, or what was your hunger, what was your angst at that time that made you find this foundation, or whatever you call it? Yeah.
You know, I just had, when I was there, I noticed that some students, including myself, were just operating on a certain level, but without maybe understanding who they were. They were getting burnt out very easily.
How were you
they
able
weren't-
to tell this?
You know, well, I mean, being my friends, you know, being around my friends, I could
Right.
just tell that, you know, what was really driving them forward and where were they operating in their life. And if you were to ask them what was it that they wanted to do in their life, it was just mostly focused on, you know, things that they had heard from other people that they should do, rather than things that maybe they could do themselves that they are interested in, you know. So
I think you telling me something profound here. The fact that you are able to see this in people and people are doing that. How would people know that they are being led by circumstances? How would you differentiate your thinking from the thinking of these other gentlemen?
Well, I don't think I was too far away from that thinking myself as well. But you could just tell, I could only tell you this now, having gone through the Art of Living, actually. And just be able to tell the difference in terms of how, it's not really what you're doing as much as how you're going about it, actually. You know? And so I was just thinking that the courses that when I learned the art of living, the courses there, I realized, the youth need this. They need to understand who they are.
And you're saying youth is anywhere from 10 to 40 or whatever.
Yeah, even we start courses as early as 8 years old, 8 to 13. We have one course, 14 to 18, and 18 and above.
Okay.
These are targeted specifically to youth. Art of Living has courses for all other sectors of society, other age groups and other groups as well specifically.
So what is it that they need to know? That the fact that breathing is important, or being in the moment is important, or not chasing the dime is important?
Well, it doesn't. Well, it's more of understanding tools that are available to them that they could use to come out of certain situations. For example, how the memory works, how the mind works.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. These are.
I mean, I don't know. Are you asking me? Is it a rhetoric or is it a question?
It's a rhetoric because it's just to point out the fact that these are things that are about who we are, that were never taught to us when we were growing up. By school
or
by
works
family.
Or okay.
Yeah, and how important the breath is, and how it can be used to manage our emotional state, how it can be used to give us focus, and how to come out of negative thought processes and even depression.
Would you cite an example of how your mind, memory, and your breath are related, or how they work, or how to manage an emotion? Would you be able to create an analogy for me?
Yeah. For example, when it comes to the mind, if ever you're asked to, when you're told 10 different compliments and one thing which is not good about you, the one thing it clings on to is the one thing that's not positive, right?
Oh, okay.
So
I should know that because I'm in the training field. Every time somebody puts up one negative comment out of 50 people, I go, focus on that. All right.
So exactly. So these are subtle and yet important ways that the mind works, and it's not something to be blamed for doing it. It's just a quality of the mind. And so when
the
you're
mind latches on to the negative or the toxic much more than it does to something that's healthy or wholesome. Is that a fact?
That's one thing. Yes.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect, and then also how the when it comes to our body, how we can use the breath to link the body and the mind. And it's like a kite. Our mind is wavering around, and the string, which is the breath, can keep it stable.
Okay, I get it. I get it to some extent.
Yeah.
So what are you guys doing, and what has your foundation or you achieved as a trustee?
Yeah.
And how many years have you been in the Philippines?
The Philippines, we've been active for 8 years already.
Wow. Okay.
And we have had courses which has reached to over thousands of people. And the Part 1 course specifically, about 2,500, 3,000 have gone through the programs already. So like I was saying, we cater to all sectors of society. So for example, during Ondoy, which was the flood that happened a few years ago.
Yeah.
I
was there.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah, exactly. And people go through traumatic experiences at that time.
Right.
And so we have these courses which we work together with the Red Cross, which could help people come out of trauma. Once again, using the breath, using different techniques. That was one sector of what we do. And then we have corporate courses where we've done for companies like Nestle, for Shangri-La. And
what's your big picture goal? I mean, what's the foundation's big picture goal? I mean, long-term, big picture vision. What is it that you guys want to do?
That everyone understands these techniques which serve them.
This awareness.
This awareness, yes. Greater awareness. And more specifically, about the topic what you're talking today is about
letting the young
lead. Now, lead where and lead how?
Tell me.
Before they can lead, it's just like if you imagine a building. The only way that you can have a long and a tall building and strong building is by working on the foundation.
Yeah.
It's like a tree. The roots of the tree.
Yeah.
The size of the roots of the tree is the one that makes a very strong tree, right?
Yeah.
So by having these courses, the youth can have an understanding of this, can really deepen the roots. And that's the starting point of success. That's the starting point for people to understand.
So building a foundation which understands itself
Yes.
for every individual and every youth, in fact.
Yes.
That should be the starting point for leading.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. So that when situations come up that are unpredictable, and that's how life really is, these youth know how to handle it. You know, they'll have the equipment. Because right now, if we just give the youth information, and we know with internet and media out there, there's just so much information which is pulling people
apart.
You know,
so
people apart. in different
taking
ways.
back the analogy of the kite, you're up there in the sky and there's so many winds blowing.
Yes.
But if you're anchored down
Yes.
to whatever technique or
Yes.
belief you have, then you can manage the winds
Yes.
of change. No?
You can manage the winds of change and put it in the direction that you want.
Good. So how have you done so far, and how is the larger community accepting you? How has Philippines accepted you?
Oh, well, accepted the art of living has been tremendous. It's been very good,
Yeah.
actually. You know, when you learn something that's been so precious and so well, like, for example, if you understood that there was some anecdote to your diseases, the first thing you would do is share it with people, you know.
Like if I had a knee ache,
Exactly.
I had soft bones, for example.
Right.
Yeah.
And you were given this anecdote for it, and it worked, it healed. Then the first thing you would do is share it with people.
Oh, antidote, you mean?
Yes.
You said
Anecdote. I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah, sorry. Okay.
Yeah. So
anecdote.
if you had an anecdote like that, then you would wish to share it with as many people, and that's how this organization grows. Is just through that spirit of helping one another, you know, and knowing that there's a solution to this.
So now you have a community, a large community here, which is helping people out of crisis
Yeah.
and stuff like that. What is this community made up of? What kind of people form this community?
Yeah, they're made up of doctors. They're made up of
Right.
industrialists,
Right.
entrepreneurs, made up of even drivers, helpers. Even prisoners have gone through the program. People who have gone through disasters, you know, because everyone needs this. Every corner of the Philippines needs this, you know. And when we're talking about, you know, developing the country, it starts by developing the self,
And
developing the individual.
Any examples of massive success or massive change? Somebody that you could drop a name in this community from yours who's done well and who's kind of become a little more transcendental after going through your courses?
Well, you know, it happens in a big way to people just in how they practice it every day to day. It'd be everyone has been helped in some regard, you know, and I think that it helps them in their own life in that way, you know. And I don't know if there's a particular name. I would say all of them have been helped in some way. And the one thing that everyone shares is, for example, how on a physical level it could help some of their diseases, you know. Some people have come out, like I myself, has improved my asthma. You know, it has helped the way that I
You had asthma?
interact. Yes, I had. I
You still have
do.
or you don't?
I still do. It's improved by around 80% just through this. And I remember the one time where I had asthma and I practiced the technique.
Yeah.
And I came out. I said, "Wow, many more people need to know this, because otherwise we think medication is the only solution to many things, whereas in fact, not really."
So now maybe it's time to describe the technique, Amar. What is it?
Well,
in the 1 or 2 day, the thing you're calling part 1, you mean the basic. What does it involve?
Well, the technique is called Sudarshan Kriya, and
Right.
that one is a
Does this originate from Hindu?
No. There's no relation. It's just a technique which the founder himself had been given.
Right.
He just feels that somehow when you write poetry, some of the inspiration comes from somewhere, and he was given that in that way. And it's just a breathing technique using cycles of breath.
Yeah.
And some way it works. You know, it works to stabilize our emotional state and
Right.
mental state, and it helps to release, you know, certain ways that we think. Even past emotions may come out.
So you manage your psychology through your
Yes.
physiology,
Yes.
kind of a thing.
And
huh?
yeah, and so starting the week after on May 20, we are starting the summer summer youth programs, workshops. These are ranging from, you know, we start the age group at 8 to 13.
Right.
And that's called the Art Excel program. And it's just 4 hours for 4 days.
Yeah.
And this is the first one, Art Excel, and the next one is called the Yes course. The Yes course is for 14 to 18 years old.
You're right.
You know, and that one, once again, is 4 hours for 4 days. And the third one is the very first time happening in the Philippines, called Yes Plus. That's Youth Empowerment Seminar Plus.
How much are these and where are they held?
Okay, so the Art Excel.
Roughly, you don't have to give me the exact number yet.
It was actually 2,500 for these sessions, and they're happening in Makati mostly, and the Art Excel is happening as well in Alabang, in Quezon City, you know. So they are. And
teachers and trainers for this are local certified. From Philippines, or they come from somewhere else?
They are local, actually. Filipinos are there, and for the course that's happening for the Yes Plus, there's actually a teacher coming in from Singapore.
Singaporean?
Yeah, Singaporean. Yeah, he's coming here.
Amar, you also mentioned corporates.
Yes.
Which corporates have used this?
Yes.
Or are they, depending on your services?
There is Shangri-La Group.
Yeah.
And also Copylandia and Nestle Philippines. And a lot of others Coca-Cola as well.
Is one of your customers?
Yes. So a lot of these, and still there's a lot more that's happening as well. BPOs, ADP.
You're working their stresses away.
Yes, you know.
Great, so, Amar. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We have 2 minutes left. No?
Okay.
So you might want to announce your website.
Yes.
Or you might want to leave us with a profound thought or a statement from your organization. It's totally up to you.
Yes.
Is there something that you want to say that I didn't ask you yet?
No, I just want to emphasize that, you know, the country's next generation is the youth, and the youth leaders need to have an understanding of themselves before they can move forward and lead the country forward. And so that's why we are having these courses specifically for the summer.
Oh, so that's where you're saying, so you're passionate about changing the youth first, and you feel the future is in their hands.
For sure. And you know, we have specifically designed this course and this time, since it's a summer break, and we are going to be having it at the end of this month. And the website address is www.artofliving.
You can announce that.
The website address is www.artofliving.org.
And that's where they find you, and that's where they can do their course, and that's where they can change their lives. And become good leaders.
Become good leaders. And I also want to add the cell phone number as well.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, it's 0917-848-4898.
We can put that on a tab later, okay? So, Amar, thank you very much, and God bless you on your journey. And you are a young person yourself, so someday you'll become a great leader, or unless you already are one today.
Yes.
You definitely are today.
Yes.
So, gracias. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Good luck.
De nada. Thank you.
All right, thank you for watching Expat Insights. That's the first half of the program. That's letting the young lead. Right after the break, we'll come back and we'll talk to a Brazilian with his Filipino partner, and they are also working on the youth, and they'll tell us about it. So stay watching. I'm your host, Raju Mandhian, and this is Expat Insights.